What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Scorching Hot Podcast, presented by Hot Streak Sports and Tailgate Sports. I am your host, Dylan Delaney, and here joined, as always, by my good friend, David Furtado. How's it going today?
I'm pretty good. Ready to talk about some basketball.
Yes, sir, especially after these brutal losses that both of our teams have suffered over the past couple of days.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, neither do I. Just go to, all you have to do, we'll plug the socials in at the end. All you have to do is just go to our Twitters and scroll. That's all you have to do, because then you'll see everything you have to see.
I mean, my thought for the day, I hate zone defense.
Yeah, zone defense, or whatever crackhead defense that was by the Washington Wizards.
It was like, I don't even know what to call it. It was like the no scoring zone.
Everybody gangsta until...
It was the clamps. It was the clamps defense. Everybody
gangsta until Scott Brooks realizes there's two sides of basketball.
Pretty much.
And then as far as my case, DeAndre Ayton started kicking chairs last night, and let's just say I wish I was a chair. Just so that way I could just get put out of my own misery.
All around bad scene.
It's a tough one, but yeah, you know, our fortunes have to change sometime soon, right? So first thing on the agenda today is talk about All-Star voting. You know, their first returns have came in. A lot of questionable names up on the top 10s of each conference to be sincere about it. Guys like Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry are still receiving votes, even though they've played probably a combined 10 games this year. And memes such as Tacko Fall and Alex Caruso have entered their way into the top 10. I know this is a topic that you're very adamant about, so I'm going to let you start on this one, about your whole thoughts about everything that's going on.
Fan voting's stupid. Well, okay, let me rephrase it. Fan voting's not stupid, but the fact that it counts for 50% of the vote is stupid.
The way they're going about it, yes.
It's just devaluing the term All-Star. Listen, I love Tacko Fall. He's hilarious. I think he's he's got a shot at some point to be a legitimate rotation player. But come on, really, he's played. First of all, he's got a two-way contract. He's played 4 games. Probably played a combined 15 minutes.
That 15 minutes he's...
And he's sixth in the front court voting. And let me just read the name. I have it up in front of me now. Let me just read the names behind it. Bam Adebayo, Gordon Hayward, Andre Drummond, Domantas Sabonis.
I feel like Hayward should be... I feel like... I would personally say that Drummond and Sabonis should be above Hayward, too.
Honestly, I think... Now, if you want to say Hayward's not an All-Star because he's missed too much time, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
I don't think he's played enough. I think when he's been out there, he's been playing at an All-Star level, but I don't think he's an All-Star because he hasn't played enough. But if you want to, Sabonis has been balling out this year. Bam Adebayo's been phenomenal. He should be in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's just why is Tacko there? And then you go over to the Western Conference in the front court, and don't even get me started on Alex Caruso because he's just not good. He's just not good.
He's not.
Just because you're 25, bald, and white, and can jump doesn't mean you're good.
Go ahead and read the names behind Alex Caruso.
Okay. This is a good one. Devin Booker and Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Behind Alex Caruso. Come on.
First of all,
go up a little further. Steph Curry, like you said, has played 4 games this year.
Yeah. Well, first of all, with Ja Morant, I don't think he should be an All-Star this year because, rookie. He's still not he's a very good player, but I don't think he's an All-Star caliber player yet. He's still learning. He's still
better than Alex Caruso.
Oh, much better than Alex Caruso. And the fact that Alex Caruso is over Devin Booker makes me want to actually take my own eyeballs and rip them out of my body. I don't appreciate that as a Suns fan because we don't get respect as it is. But the fact that we have this bald man who knows how to do reverse dunk and run does not help me at all.
Yeah, and I understand, it's the All-Star game, you want to see the players you want to see. But at the same time, it's
I don't want to see Alex Caruso.
You would neither do I. But you would like to see, players who deserve to be there. And, some of those players will get there, as bench players, the players vote and the coaches vote. But those 2 votes combined add up to 50%. Whereas the fans get 50%. It's do you really trust fans to vote for 50% of this? I don't. I don't trust myself. Because, I'll tell you right now, I voted for Derrick Rose 5 times. Is Derrick Rose an All-Star? No.
No, yeah, I did the same
Derrick Rose. He's my favorite player, so I'm going to vote for him. That should not count for 50%.
I voted for Mikal Bridges about 3 times. Does he deserve to be an All-Star? Absolutely not.
Conference 4th.
Wait, what?
For guards.
Derrick Rose is 4th?
So I'll read you the guards right now.
That's surprising. Damn.
You have Trae Young.
Kyrie should not be there.
Kyrie should not be there at all. Obviously he was really good the first week, but he hasn't played since.
Yeah, exactly.
You have Kemba,
Fair.
right behind Kyrie, like less than 500 votes behind Kyrie.
Yeah, fair.
Then you have at fourth, it's a big drop off between 3 and 4. So you go down. So Kemba has 432,000. Then you go down to Derrick Rose is about 234,000.
Okay.
So a little bit under. And then it's another big drop off down to Zach LaVine, Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown 7. Honestly, nationally, Jaylen Brown's being slept on so much.
I feel like out of those names, Jaylen Brown deserves to be an all-star out of anybody.
Jaylen Brown is 1,000% an all-star.
But
numbers in a second.
Between that drop off from Kemba to Jaylen Brown, I believe that Jaylen Brown should be an all-star over Ben Simmons, Zach LaVine, and Derrick Rose.
No, I can get. I'm on board with that. And then you have 8, 9, 10. You have Kyle Lowry, Bradley Beal, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Bradley Beal should be an all-star too. And Spencer,
honestly, I think Spencer Dinwiddie could be.
And Spencer Dinwiddie could be an all-star too. I would be surprised if even Kyle Lowry. Like Kyle Lowry did miss a lot of time, but Kyle Lowry's balling this year.
Outside of, I'd say all these players are definitely. Honestly, all 10 of them are probably in the discussion outside of Kyrie, and it has nothing to do with talent. It's just that he hasn't played.
Right.
They got to do something. They're going to let fans vote and have it count to 50%. Like, I understand you vote for your favorite players.
Well, here's what I'm proposing.
You can't vote for a guy. You can't count these votes for a guy who's played 15 games.
And here's where I feel like we got to put a proposal in there. I feel like there's got to be some sort of criteria that a player has to follow to be eligible to be voted for the All-Star game. I feel like you have to, like, as much as I love, like, Tacko Fall, like, I do think you're right. Like, I don't think he should be receiving the amount of votes that he's getting right now. So I feel like there's got to be one requirement's got to be you have to average at least 15 minutes a game in the games that you play. That's one way to start it. And the second one is that you have to at least played at least half of your team's games as well.
Yeah, honestly, even if it's just the games played, like I understand, like honestly, like voting for Tacko Fall is fun. Like it's fun to put his name on the All-Star ballot, but like that shouldn't, like I should see him, down at maybe 10 or like 15, like down in the voting, like with people that like it doesn't matter at that point because none of those guys are really all-stars. They're just players that people vote for because they like them. Like I shouldn't see him at 6.
And at the end of the game, are we really gonna see Tacko Fall or Alex Caruso in the All-Star game?
No, we're not.
No,
because they're not gonna get up there and get enough votes. But honestly, Tacko's close, but they're not gonna get enough votes.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, we could see those votes going to players that are so much more deserving of an All-Star appearance that they haven't.
Honestly, that's
especially
one of my biggest problems.
Yeah, especially the players that like haven't been to an All-Star game yet, or haven't or trying to cement their own legacies. Such as, I mean, not to be a homer or anything like that, but Devin Booker definitely deserves to be an All-Star this year with the numbers that he's put up this year, and with the amount of I'm gonna say the word success, but really we're just gonna call it improvement over last year's Phoenix Suns team. Like it's a noticeable improvement where you could say, oh, he's an all-star. Trae Young, like his team sucks. Their team is literally the worst in the Western Conference, but hey, he's balling out, so he deserves to be an all-star too. So we gotta like put the votes towards players that actually deserve to be in said game. Especially for like a first-time player like that, and Bam Adebayo too. Like the numbers don't really prove that he's an all-star player, but if you look on the court, he is having such an amazing presence that he definitely deserves to be in that consideration for that all-star spot too.
Right, and honestly, I'll just move over to the Western Conference front court real quick.
Hold on, real quick before you do that. Where's Jimmy Butler on any of those lists?
Jimmy Butler is they have him listed in the front court, which I think is stupid
that's surprising to me.
It's dumb. And so basically, here's the Eastern Conference front court. Giannis, Embiid, Siakam, Butler, Tatum, Tacko, Bam, Hayward, Drummond, Sabonis.
Okay, outside of Tacko, I actually don't really have many problems with that. Because
honestly, it's really not that bad. My biggest gripe with it is that Jimmy Butler shouldn't be classified with the forwards. But
yeah, I would say that he's more of a
That's nitpicking.
That's
he swings. He's a 2 or 3.
It's tough because you have like guys like Dragic, Winslow, Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, all the Heat. They all play like that guard. So he's like it's tough to put him in with either or. I guess I don't know. He's a weird fella. But go on with the Western Conference.
Western Conference front court. I mean, it's fine at the top. You got LeBron, you got Davis, you got Kawhi, Paul George, Karl-Anthony Towns. Like that's
fair.
Kristaps, Jokic, but then these last 3, 2 out of the last 3 have me very confused, and that's Melo, Brandon Ingram, Dwight Howard. Now, don't get me wrong. Like Melo's a cool story, and I totally understand why it's getting votes. But like, really, come on. And then Dwight Howard. Again, cool story, but like,
what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Brandon Ingram, honestly, I feel like could be a lot higher. He's been phenomenal this year. I mean, he has my vote for most improved.
The only thing that's holding him back is just his team performance.
Yeah.
If his team was better, then he'd be much more up there.
All that, and that's another thing. It's like, obviously, like, fans are going to vote for the players that are in the national media enough. They see them. They're, on social media. They're getting talked about on ESPN. But it's like, nobody talks about the Pelicans. Not really. They don't talk about the Pelicans a ton because Zion's not playing.
Right.
Nobody sees that Brandon Ingram's been one of the best players in the league.
Right, and that's the thing about that is that's why it comes back to blame you. It's not. I'm not blaming these companies like Bleacher Report and ESPN, but when all you do is
the worst.
But when you push out the same stories about the same players every week, it feels like if you go down Bleacher Report's Instagram or on their NBA or whatever, and all you see is just the same Alex Caruso, Los Angeles Lakers, Giannis, Luka Doncic, you're just gonna see the same things over and over and over again. And it's like, as a person who follows the entire NBA and tries to get himself acclimated to each team and what's going on with each and every one of them, I don't want to have to see oh, Alex Caruso swags on $4 million right now. I know what he is. I want to learn about other players like freaking Ish Smith, who drops 27 on the Celtics. I want to know about that.
Don't bring that up. Why? Why'd you guys
because
bring that up?
Because he's an unknown player. You know what I mean?
Only when he plays the Celtics.
Not to send you back to your nightmares or anything like that, but you won't hear about that. You don't hear about the Wizards beating the Celtics, or you don't hear about.
That's true.
You won't hear about that because not to say that the Wizards don't have anybody that should be put in prime time media, because they do. They have Bradley Beal and Davis Bertans, who Bertans been so much fun to watch this year. But you won't hear about those types of players, but instead you hear about I love the whole Dwight Howard thing, but I've heard that same thing at least 15 times this year. I know JaVale McGee's a meme. I'm surprised I haven't heard Jared Dudley's name more.
The Lakers are such a meme.
I'm surprised I haven't heard Jared Dudley's name more. Honestly, with how much talk the Lakers get.
Play, honestly,
he doesn't.
Honestly,
he doesn't really play. I don't think he does. But and that's the thing. When you put so much attention on them, you don't hear as much about the underappreciated players in the NBA, such as the Bam Adebayos, such as the Jonathan Isaacs, who just went down with that injury. He's a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, and probably nobody knows about it because they'll look at the stats and be like, well, he puts up 12 points a game, big whoop-de-doo.
Right, and that's what you gotta look beyond just points.
There's so many other statistics that can show how good a player really is, but I think the biggest statistic that shows how good a player is their film. Stats can only tell you so much of the story of a player, but to actually watch a team play and watch the players perform, it really shows you how well some of these players are. So
right, let's just do a little exercise here. All right, so this is two players that are in the Eastern Conference backcourt voting. One player is listed directly ahead of, or you just tell me what player you think is the All-Star here, or should be the All-Star here. So we have player one, 20 points, or 20.7 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, on 39% shooting from three and 51% from the floor.
Wait, is this
this is for the Eastern Conference backcourt.
Oh, this is a backcourt, okay.
Yeah, and 76% from the foul line. Then we have player two, who's averaging about 15 points a game, 8.5 assists, 7.5 rebounds, on 59% from the foul line, 56% from just the field, and then he's averaging 40% from three, so just a 0.5 difference. Which player do you think is the All-Star? Player one or player two?
I think I know who player two is.
Who's player two?
I think player two is Ben Simmons.
Player two is Ben Simmons. Who's player one?
Wait, how many rebounds do you say that player one has?
7.2.
Oh, see, that's weird because I thought it was Zach LaVine, but I don't think Zach LaVine gets that many boards.
No, player one's Jaylen Brown.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say player one's the All-Star anyways, but
behind Ben Simmons in the voting.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's why, because I thought for some reason Zach LaVine was behind Ben Simmons. That's why my thought went there. But I've been saying this before, as always. Jaylen Brown, if there's gonna be a reserve guard to be, it should be Bradley Beal and Jaylen Brown. Those are your two guys right now.
Honestly, Jaylen Brown, so if I had to pick most improved players right now, it'd be Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, and maybe Devontae Graham too. Honestly,
I gotta put you have like as much as like putting second year players like shouldn't be up there. Devontae Graham's has to be up there just because like like he went from he went from being a bench warmer to being a franchise cornerstone in the matter of a month.
Right.
Like that's absolutely unreal. And I thought Malik Monk was supposed to be the answer for that team. Nope.
Malik Monk's so bad.
I thought this because I seen him in the preseason and I was like, oh, maybe this this might be Malik Monk's year. Nope, never mind.
Nope.
But that's it. Like, there's a lot of great players that aren't even in that top 10 of the votings. You know.
Yeah, and we'll see more when they release the second fan returns. I think you're going to see guys like Caruso and Tacko probably fall off a little bit.
Yeah. I think.
I think it'll correct itself, and it usually does. But I think, obviously it's a good way to interact with fans or get the fans into it with the fan vote, and I think it should stay. But maybe have it count for a little less than half.
Either that or just...
I feel like that's affecting it way too much, and you're getting guys that you like... It's not so much getting guys that don't deserve to be there, because I think at the end of the day, both teams are made of guys who should be there, but you're getting guys who really, really deserve to be there are getting snubbed because they're letting guys who are good, but, are slightly less deserving, in my opinion, of being there. And that would be like, for instance, say, a guy like, Kyrie gets named to the team. Obviously, he won't play and they'll bump somebody up.
Right.
But he gets to, Kyrie makes the team. Like, now that's, one more hoop we got to jump through to get somebody who, should be there.
Exactly.
And same thing in the Western Conference with Steph Curry. Like, if Steph Curry ends up getting in, really, what are we, he's not going to,
he can't play.
So they're just going to bump somebody in. But,
who's the top?
It's stuff like that. It's annoying to have to go through these hoops to get the guys, the right people there.
Who is the top of the Western Conference right now for backcourts? Because I don't know if you... I know what Luka, it is after Caruso.
So I'll just read down the list. It's Luka, Harden, Lillard, Curry, Westbrook, Russell, Mitchell, Caruso, Booker, Morant.
Okay, so that's for the most part. I feel like other than me personally believing that Booker should be ahead of probably in that top 6. I can get behind that for the most part. And that's the thing that sucks is that the backcourt of the West is just there's so many good players too.
It's honestly loaded.
And that's another player. Donovan Mitchell wasn't an All-Star last year, right? Donovan Mitchell's going to be fighting for his first All-Star appearance.
Yeah, and honestly, some of these guys will get there on the bench. I think the players and the coaches will vote for the players who should be there.
Yeah, I think by looking at that list right now, I think that you have Luka's going to get in there, obviously, and Harden's going to get in there, obviously. I would say that Lillard's going to get in there because those how many bench guys, how many backcourt guys usually get for the West? It's usually 6, right?
Yeah, it's got to be up there. It's honestly, because most of the premier talent in the West is on the backcourt.
I think it's 6 in the backcourt and 7 in the front court usually. So they usually have 13 players on the team.
Right.
So I'd say those 3, and I mean from there you could probably say Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, and who am I forgetting? I would say I'd put both those guys over Westbrook.
I saw Westbrook try to throw down a fast break dunk. He was all by himself and launched the ball back up the center court. So
Westbrook versus Rim, the story that never gets old.
Yeah, no, he's 0-2.
But who am I forgetting? I feel like there's a name that's at the top of that list I'm forgetting because I know Curry's not going to be there because Curry's not going to play. But
yeah, Luka, Harden, Lillard, you said all those. Westbrook, you just mentioned. D'Lo.
D'Lo's in front of all those guys too.
He's at 6.
Wow, that's actually surprising to me too. I don't think that. I mean, I don't think he'll be an All-Star just because honestly, he hasn't played that much either.
It's the All-Star game. It's a popularity contest at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
it's fine. It is what it is. But I would like to see the most deserving players get there, not just the biggest names all the time.
And as much as the All-Star game really doesn't mean anything because, honestly, it doesn't. It's something that down the road could mean so much more. Especially if a player is going to be Hall of Fame eligible, one of the things is how many All-Star games was he in? How many All-NBA appearances did he have? How many playoff appearances in a row did he have? It's the small stuff like that. You know what I mean? And some of these players right now they don't have it's sure they're at a young age, but they don't have that on their resume yet. So it's
right.
Also it's snowing here. I don't know if it's snowing where you are right now, but it's snowing hard.
That's awful.
Yeah, I'm not a fan about this right now. But Yeah, I think we kind of took over the whole All-Star voting thing. I think the biggest thing for me is just like the whole criteria. I think we just need to strict it. Like if you're gonna make it a
Just
fan voting type thing.
Just a games played limit.
Yeah, I think that's really
And
like
it doesn't even have to be super high. Maybe just like 20.
yeah.
25.
Well,
It doesn't even have to be a ton because obviously guys are gonna sprain an ankle and miss a week or two. But like for the most part,
or load management. Or load management.
But yeah, no, like it doesn't have to be like this. Like you got to play and you can only miss like 5 games. But like no, just like play in like 15, 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a minimum of 15 is fine. Just so
like,
that way you can.
It doesn't have to be a lot of games, but like just enough to kind of get Tacko out of there. Like.
We still love Tacko. He'll get
like, I love Tacko. Don't get me wrong. This is not Tacko slander. Like I love Tacko, and like if Tacko were to make the All-Star game, it would be hilarious.
Oh,
like,
I think
it's also kind of like a slap in the face. Like not the All-Star game with a lot of integrity, but like I think it devalues like All-Star appearances.
How about we do this then? If fans want to see like Caruso or Tacko Fall on a national stage so bad, why don't we just have like an All-Star game just full of memes before the real All-Star game?
Or why don't we get them there in other ways, like in the dunk contest, the skills competition, 3-point contest?
Tacko Fall, the
honestly,
skills competition.
I would watch Alex Caruso in the dunk contest.
Tacko Fall, the skills competition would be hilarious.
These are like I think like that's because I think that was we were going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, that's what's next.
Just All-Star weekend, nice little segue right there. Look at that.
Yeah, don't you love how things work?
But yeah, no. So like you get guys like get a Tacko and put him in like the skills contest. So, like that would be hilarious.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
But like in all seriousness, like honestly, I would sit down and I would watch Alex Caruso as a member of the dunk contest.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Because that's really the only thing he does well.
But I don't think that. But I think that there's a difference between in-game dunkers and actual like dunk contest eligible dunkers. I don't think Alex Caruso is probably. I feel because I just from watching him play, I feel like Alex Caruso is more of like an in-game dunker. I mean, I could be proved wrong, but.
But if you want him to, so if fans want him to be at All-Star Weekend so bad they're voting for him this much, then just put him in something.
Well, who do we have right now in the dunk contest? Right now we have Dwight Howard.
Now, Dwight Howard, he denied it. He said he didn't know anything about it.
Oh, so he's
going to be in it. He's going to be in it. I'd bet money he's going to be in it.
Yeah, him and what? Derrick Jones Jr. is in it right now too.
Yeah, Derrick Jones Jr. are the only ones confirmed. Ja Morant's thinking about it.
Did Zach LaVine get an invite for it?
I think Zach LaVine got an invite. I think he's thinking about it too. And then for the skills competition,
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose is Sham said Derrick Rose is doing it. Derrick Rose said, I don't know what you guys are talking about. He hasn't confirmed it yet, but it's pretty much a done. Honestly, if Sham said it, it's a done deal.
What year are we in? What year is
this?
No,
seriously. We had Dwight Howard in the dunk contest. We had Derrick Rose doing the skills competition.
I
would imagine, if I had to take a guess, I would imagine Tatum will do the skills contest again. He won last year, so come back to defend the title.
I said this last night to you. We are one Ron Artest name change away from being right back in 2010.
New decade.
We are one more Gilbert Arenas gun charge away from being back in 2009.
Gilbert Arenas.
Shout out Hibachi. I love that man. We are one one more Pau Gasol dunk. Just
right back in 20.
Run more Brandon Roy game winner. R.I.P. Brandon Roy's career. But I would like to. I'd love to see John in the dunk contest. I think that he'd be good for that. I think that's it'd be like a similar way of what Donovan Mitchell did when he was a rookie and he was in it.
I think John Morant's dunk contest would be phenomenal.
Personally, as a Suns fan, I'd love to see Kelly Oubre out there at the dunk contest, but I feel like he's in the same boat as Caruso. I feel like he's more of an in-game dunker than like a flashy dunker.
I want to see Javonte Green. That's not. I know it's a name a lot of people aren't gonna know, but he's like.
I'd be so.
He's like the third string shooting guard for the Celtics. They found off the streets of Europe. And, I mean that guy can jump.
What about Jalen LeCue from the
Phoenix? He's had some pretty good pregame stuff.
I'd be down to see him, or even Diallo. Like if Diallo wanted to come back again this year,
yeah, well, I
perfectly fine with
the
that.
Other day. You said he was hurt, and he was earlier in the year, but then I was watching a Thunder game he was playing, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was hurt too.
If he's healthy, I want Diallo.
I feel like is it too much to ask to put the dunk contest to 6 dunkers instead of 4?
I think.
Or would that be too long? Is that too long?
Personally, I don't think it's too long because I love the dunk contest. But at the same time, I feel like that's going to take away time from... Because as it is, the dunk contest doesn't start until pretty late anyway.
Right.
So it's like, they would have to, shorten up either the skills competition, the 3-point competition, or you could just get rid of the random musical performances in between.
Yeah, I'm fine with.
I'm all for getting rid of the pre-recorded songs.
Yeah.
People just getting up there and lip syncing. Like, I don't need to just play it on the speakers. I don't need to watch the guy run around the stage. Like,
yeah, just get the dunk over with.
If it's gonna play the pre-recorded song, just play the pre-recorded song and let me watch basketball.
Let the magic happen.
I don't need to watch whoever it is, whether it's it was like Kendrick Lamar one year, run around not actually rap.
I think or hear me out. What about Vince Carter?
I think so. It would be super awesome.
I don't think it'll. Yeah,
but I just don't think he can dunk like that anymore.
Nothing against him, but did you see Frederick Weiss's tweet the other day?
I did not.
He was saying he tweeted out on his own Twitter. He's like, "Let's get Vince Carter to dunk over me in the dunk contest again one last time."
Okay, that would be awesome.
That would be. Or I wouldn't even as not even a dunk contest thing. Just put that on the side, please. Do that at halftime of All-Star week, on the All-Star game. Do something.
Yeah, and honestly, as much as I'd love to see Vince Carter in the dunk contest, I just don't think he can do it. I honestly just don't think he can jump like that anymore.
Personally, I think that if we're gonna have since it's in Chicago, I have a feeling that Zach LaVine's gonna be in it, just because you have that hometown represented.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Zach LaVine's got to do it. Hometown or not hometown, but
so
for the Bulls.
We could very well see a four-man competition of Dwight Howard, Ja Morant, Derrick Jones Jr., and Zach LaVine, which would be cool.
I'd be perfectly fine.
That's a really good setup right there.
Good deal.
Either that or have maybe I would say Zach LaVine in the 3-point contest, but maybe that's a maybe.
I'm curious to see who does the 3-point contest.
Apparently,
I haven't seen who they've invited.
So apparently Luka and Trae Young are both in it, or they both had invited at least.
That's a good start.
Underrated name that I think needs to get invited is George Hill.
Okay.
George Hill's shooting 51% from 3 this year, so I think he needs to easily get invited. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Devin Booker there again because he's been in it for so many years.
Yeah, I feel like he does it every year.
Wouldn't be surprised if he was, especially if he gets named to an All-Star team. Wouldn't be surprised if he just does both of them at the same time.
Yeah, he'll be there anyway.
As far as other 3-point shooters go, I honestly maybe Joe Ingles.
Maybe I want to see Devontae Graham do it.
Devontae Graham would be fun.
I don't know what his 3-point percentage is, but I mean, in the couple of games I've watched him play, I don't think I've seen him miss a 3.
Yeah, he's one of those players where you shoot he's at the point where if he shoots it, I'm confident that it can go in basically every time it's not like a superstar type thing, but there's certain players where they shoot it and you're confident that it can go in every single time they shoot it.
Right.
He's one of those players.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the 3-point contest.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the Jazz players Bogdanovich did it too, or Ingles or Bogdanovich did it.
I'm curious that in the skills competition too. Obviously, Derrick Rose is reportedly doing it. I would be willing to bet Tatum will probably do it again.
You know who's gonna probably be in the All-Star Weekend at one point too is Tyler Hero. I feel like Tyler Hero's gonna be in it at some point in All-Star Weekend.
Honestly, that's a sleeper for the 3-point contest.
If he's in that 3-point contest, he's one of those players who can turn it on.
That's my sleeper. All right, that's a good. Tyler Hero's my sleeper for the 3-point contest to do it, not to win, but to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in it. I'm just trying to go through random teams. Can we get hear me out too. Just a meme 3-point contest would be absolutely wonderful too. Get Boban Marjanovic, get Tacko Fall, get Ben Simmons, get anybody who's historically terrible at 3-point shooting and put him in. Andre Drummond.
Oh, that would be
Alex Len? No.
No.
It stops there. It stops there at Alex Len. No, it stops at Alex Len.
I'm good.
The one thing that me and you can easily share is our hatred for Alex Len.
I can't stand Alex
Len. Did I ever tell you the story about me and Alex Len?
No. You might have.
When a couple years ago when he was still with the Suns, every single time the Suns come to the Celtics, I go and I try to get there as early as I can just to meet some of the Suns players and whatnot. And I forget I don't remember if it was the year that Booker dropped 70 or if it was the year before that, but Alex Len was shooting around pregame, and he's going through the tunnel and he's signing autographs, and I asked him for a picture, and in his accent he just goes, no picture, only autograph, and he just walks away from me, just completely disses me.
Oh, man.
And I'm just saying I literally look at him, I'm like, all right, you know what, fine, I don't need a picture with you anyways. You're not good at basketball, so that's fine. I don't care. Okay, go away.
He just makes basketball exponentially less fun for me to watch.
That too. Like I was watching the Hawks Celtics game the other day, and watching him play basketball is just not amusing at all. It really isn't. It's not a fun
It's not a
spectacle.
good scene.
We could get an All-Star weekend just dedicated around Alex Len though, just to like show his miscues and his failures.
It's like Marvel and his just terribleness.
Basically, his lack of his lack of basketball skill. I'm sorry if you're hearing this, Alex Len, but you did something to
Nah,
you did something to
I'm not
irk me.
sorry if you're hearing this, Alex Line.
You did something to irk me, Alex. You did something to irk me.
True.
But yeah, as from what we've been talking about, this All-Star weekend could probably shape up to be one of the better ones in recent years. Like, I don't think we've had like an insanely memorable All-Star weekend since the year of Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine.
Yeah, and honestly, before that, it was probably what was the year Blake Griffin jumped over the car?
It was like 2010.
Yeah,
something like
so
that.
Really, honestly, only like two that really stick out in the past like 10 years.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if you can get that star-studded lineup of what everything basically we just said, which is, I mean, it's difficult to do obviously because some players aren't going to want to do that type of thing, but I mean, it could be really good. This could be a really really talented All-Star weekend. You can see some really good stuff happen.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Last thing that we're gonna cover on today's show. First podcast of the new decade of the new year. I just figured real quick. 3 bold predictions for the next decade. Talk about them a little bit. I'll go with my first one because I know we talked about them before we went on air, and some of mine are kind of crazy. My first one is that Giannis is going to win 2 championships this decade, and one of them is going to be with James Harden on the Milwaukee Bucks.
So with the Bucks?
With the Bucks.
Interesting.
And the way I look at it is, I don't think that Harden wins a championship with the Rockets because I just feel like it hasn't happened yet. And while having Westbrook is great, I don't think that's going to be nearly enough for them to get to the finals. And at some point, the Rockets are going to have to look at themselves and say, we need to do a rebuild. And the first thing they're going to have to do is look for shooters for both Harden and Westbrook. And I think that when Giannis hits free agency, I don't think that he leaves because I think that the Milwaukee Bucks either win a title this year or next year. So I feel like if they win a title, that's going to be good enough for Giannis to stay. So with Giannis staying, I feel like they would have enough pieces at the time to be able to work on a deal to send Harden to Milwaukee to play alongside Giannis and then eventually win a title with them in place. Probably would be towards the end of both their contracts, with them probably sending like Chris Middleton and some other contracts and some picks back to Houston in exchange for Harden. But I feel like it would just be interesting because you have both of the guys who are constantly in MVP talks on that same team. I feel like it could work because I feel like they're 2 completely different players and they have like 2 different styles, but their talent would be just so much that it would, I could see that working.
Yeah, honestly, that could be a pretty good fit because Giannis doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands all the time.
Right.
And I agree with you, honestly. Houston's not winning anything with Harden. It's just it's partly because of just he ISOs way too much. That team as a whole ISOs way too much.
Yeah, I feel bad because he deserves
it. D'Antoni's system's just stale and it's just not going to work.
Yeah, because I feel like, and it's not like anything against Harden because obviously he's a great player, but I feel like also he's like too good of a player to just go throughout his career and not having a ring. Like if he retires without a ring, he might be the best player to not have a championship ring. Like with just how like what he is right now.
Yeah, no, honestly, he'll end up being up there.
Like because just think about like the names that don't have a ring, like Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson. Like he could easily retire with a better resume than both of those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like he's gonna be up there. I'll let you go into your first one because I know you got some good ones.
My first one. I said the Celtics are gonna win multiple championships in the next decade. Honestly, I don't think that's like too bold. I think they're pretty close now. And you got to figure they have a really nice young core. Now whether Hayward stays or not, honestly, I couldn't care less.
Right.
But for the next 3 years at least, you're gonna have Brown, Tatum, and then Kemba as well. And then you've seen guys like Tice has played pretty well. Now whether he's long term, I don't know. But I think the hope for them is
Brad Wanamaker. Don't forget about Brad Wanamaker.
Brad Wanamaker's a beast. Don't even get me started. But I think the hope for them as far as front court stuff is, maybe get a free agent or two next summer. But you also have Robert Williams. I think the hope is for him to eventually morph into the starter, and I think he's athletic enough to be. It's just a matter of consistency and not turning the ball over, which he has a problem with now. But I think overall, it's like, you look at some of the other teams in the East, specifically Milwaukee, outside of, Giannis, and they got like Pat Connaughton, but that's a lot of their shooting is a little older. You got guys like Brook Lopez, Kyle Korver's there now.
Right.
George Hill's not getting any younger. It's like, they're aging, definitely. Obviously, you have Giannis, who's still really young. But like, for the most part, they're set up to drive the lane, and then if that's not there, kick it out to their shooters. Their shooters are getting old. They might not be in the league all that much longer.
That's fair. Except for Chris Middleton.
You look at the Celtics. I mean, they're young. I mean, all their best players are under 30, I think. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, as far as the whole age thing, I think like they're important guys. Like they're very important guys. They'll be around for a while. Like Chris Middleton's gonna be here for a while because he's still fairly young-ish. He's like in his prime right now. Same thing with Eric Bledsoe. Like he's kind of like, he's not. I wouldn't say he's exiting his prime, but he's still a very good player. And they have some young guys, but I feel like they'll also be a type of team that like they're a pretty good GM where they can figure out how to maneuver around it. You know what I mean? Whether that's
I think as far as the Celtics go, I mean, you've seen Jaylen Brown taking that step. I mean, he's been unreal this year.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been so consistent all season. I think he's kind of at that point now where it's been about an entire calendar year of him playing really, really well. They're kind of at that point where it's like, all right, this is what he is. He's going to be an all-star caliber player. If that's a hit, they picked the right guy. Like, this guy's going to be, a 20-point, like a 20-7 type player.
And the same thing with Tatum. Tatum's stepping into his own this year.
He's watching him the last couple of weeks. He's so close to just kind of hitting that, like just flipping that switch. I mean, he's strung together a lot more good shooting nights than he's had bad ones in the last couple of weeks. So I think he's getting really, really close to kind of flipping that switch and finding the consistency. And I mean, once he does, he's proven he can be a 25-point night guy.
But it's interesting you say that because where is Tatum right now? Where Brown was last year? You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
In very similar situations.
Because
to be honest, I think Brown didn't hit that consistency, find that stride until probably like midway through January.
And where are we right now? We're starting to enter
early January.
So we could very well see we could very well see Jason Tatum over the next over the course of the next month just go absolutely berserk before the All-Star break and be like, that's the Jason Tatum that we've been waiting to see all this time. And like, that's the one that we're like, yes, this is the he's only 20 years old. Like, we're finally realizing it now.
And even in the off and on, I mean, you look, he's had, I think it was in his first two seasons, he only had one 30-point game, and he's had like 3 already this year.
Yeah, for every like 30-point game though, he's also had some games where he's just been absolutely atrocious too. Like, and
he's
had some games where he'd be like 1 for 14.
One hand, the amount of nights where I've been like, wow, he's just garbage tonight. Everywhere else, he's been like, even on his like, and that's honestly what I look at more than his best nights. I look at his bad, like, what's his like and his this year has been like 18 points,
which is good. Like, that's very good.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
If that's like your like like mediocre, just kind of bland night is like 16 to 18 points, and probably close to 10 rebounds. Like, I'm fine with that. That's a lot of players.
I'm hip. Really I'm with it. I'm with that. I can get behind Jason Tatum getting
great night for a lot of players.
I could get behind Jason Tatum turning into an absolute star.
Like, I mean, and I think he's really, really close. And obviously he's got that talent. He's shown flashes.
He's there.
He's been able at certain stretches of games, just even on a night where he's not necessarily having the best night, he can just for, 5-minute span at any point in the game just take over and score, go on a 10-0 run by himself.
And one thing I'll say about Tatum too is that from what I've seen from him this year, I've noticed that his shot selection is a lot better this year too.
It's so much better.
Like
he's taking a lot more threes. He's also, and this is honestly my biggest complaint with Tatum this year, is he's left about probably like 6 to 8 points a night on the board and missed layups.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Like,
that's
as much
really,
as
honestly my biggest complaint. Like, the shot selection's been there, which is the important part, and that's made me feel a lot better about him going forward. Is he's taking a lot. He's not settling for long twos a lot. It's been a lot of driving to the rim. He's posted up a fair amount too. He's taken a lot of fadeaway post. Like that Paul Pierce move, he's starting to perfect that.
Yes. I know exactly.
And then he's been taking a lot of threes.
But the thing about that though is with the whole missed layups thing, like it's so encouraging that he's having that at the same time, because it shows he's driving so much more to the basket than he was
Right.
in previous
And the fact
years.
that he's getting those looks is all I care about.
Yeah.
Really.
Like as much
they're
as
gonna
as much as he
eventually start to fall.
like as much as not having those points would it hurts, as much as missing 3 to 4 missed layups around the bucket, like yeah, that hurts. But the fact that he's going to the basket and he's missing, even though he's missing them, it's so much more. It helps him now because next year we could see that get trimmed down to like 2 or 3 missed layups, and the year afterwards could be 1 or 2, and then there's going to be a point where he's been driving through him so much that he just has that confidence where he's just going to be able to just finish at any given way.
Right.
So the rise of Tatum is really what's going to propel the Celtics.
And I think it's coming sooner rather than later. I think he's really, really kind of close to popping off.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that I definitely think that he has that type of potential to be like one of the top players in the Eastern Conference. I'll dive right into my next one, which is
I think ours are pretty much the same.
yeah. We could combine ours really. Mine's just a smidge different. Mine's a smidge different. I have that the NBA is gonna have 2 more expansion teams this decade because I feel like this is Adam Silver. That's not one of his main priorities, but it could become one soon. I feel like Seattle's going to come back. We're going to see the Supersonics back, and I feel like the second one is going to be in Louisville. I think Louisville's going to get an NBA team because right now Kentucky is one of the hot spots of talent in the NBA, and I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Silver decided to add another Eastern Conference team to offset the Seattle one, and I feel like Louisville would be a great place to put one.
All right, that's interesting because like I also put they're going to go back to Seattle, whether it's expansion or just moving a team back. But if they do expand, they're going to do 2. They're not just going to go to 31 teams. They'll go to 32. I think not Louisville. I'll pick one on the spot here. I think if they expand to Seattle, they're going to obviously put one more in the Eastern Conference. I think it'll go to St. Louis.
Interesting, because I was gonna say St. Louis or Kansas City, but I don't know. I didn't know if they were too like far out west for you to put them in the Eastern Conference.
It's kind of right on that. I mean, St. Louis, you got the Gateway Arch, the gateway to the west, but I mean, it's like very close. It's kind of right on that line.
See, I feel like,
I think for the sake of, I mean, you could also, if they really wanted to, put the St. Louis team in the West, make them a Western Conference team, and then just bump New Orleans to the Eastern Conference.
I was gonna say you could either do that or bump Minnesota too, like either or.
Yeah, either one, honestly. But yeah, no, I think St. Louis, they would do well with an NBA team, and I think they lost the football team. They have the hockey team that does pretty well. They have the baseball team. The Cardinals do pretty well. I think they do really well with the basketball team.
Yeah,
and you also have you have some players that are obviously they're playing for other places. Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, just to name 2 from St. Louis.
Right.
But,
they've been able to produce some sort of talent from there too. You know what I mean?
Right, and I think that would be it's definitely a good sports town. I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think they could. It's been for a long time for me one of those places where it's kind of like I'm kind of surprised they don't have a basketball team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was thinking about them, but if I feel like that the logistics of that for me was. I didn't know how they were going to be able to work. Would they have to move other teams around and stuff like that? So
yeah, I think it's easy enough. In my opinion, you can either just put them in the East, or you can realign one other team. You just put the St. Louis team in the West. Although you would be putting 2 in the West. It would be interesting.
Because you'd have to, in that case you'd have to move 2 to the East. So would you just move New Orleans and Minnesota, or would you? Would you by any chance if you have 32 teams then? How is it? Yeah, exactly. How's it going to work?
Put them in the East then.
Yeah, I would.
Because now I'm picturing the U.S. map in my head and trying to draw the.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's not like baseball. It's not like baseball where they just have like it's just like random. Like they have the Athletics and the AL West, and then they have
the AL and the NL. It's just easier.
Yeah, it's easier to do it like that. So with the whole expansion thing comes 2 like questions. One, when is there gonna be a point when the NBA decides to go even more global and integrates into Mexico City? Does that happen anytime? Like,
I don't think it has. I think they'll put another team in Canada before they do that.
That's what I'm thinking too. But at the same time,
if they do go to Canada again, they're going to go to Vancouver.
I could see them go to Montreal too.
I
feel like Vancouver first because
city, but I just don't think. I don't know if basketball would do that well there.
Well, the only thing about Vancouver is that the only thing that offsets me is because they've already done it there and it kind of flopped.
That's true, and I think but it's also a very different time now than it was when they tried it.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that country as a whole, basketball is really starting to explode.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with all the players that have been recently coming out of
The
it.
Raptors just won the title.
You have so many more Canadian players
that
are
have,
just
the national team starting to get a lot of recognition. You got, all these guys, RJ Barrett, Jamal Murray.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, you got all these guys.
Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins. Maple Jordan.
Wiggins Island, baby.
But, so it's like you got, like, you're starting to get really big in Canada. So I think, trying Vancouver again is definitely worthwhile, especially if you decide to go back to Seattle, because I think that could be a really cool rivalry.
Yeah, Seattle versus...
obviously, it would take some time to kind of plug and really get going. But I think, having those two teams on opposite sides of the border really close to each other would do really well. And it would be a sense where it's like those fan bases would be able to just like kind of invade each other's arenas. Because I know just from a baseball perspective, you have like the Toronto Blue Jays, they go and play the Seattle Mariners once every summer.
Right.
And every single, it's a big thing. The whole, like, the team plugs it. All the fans drop down from British Columbia and they go down to Seattle, and it's like another home series for the Blue Jays.
Right. And then,
so it's like, I feel like you could have stuff both directions.
You could have like that
Seattle, Vancouver type deal.
Right. So the last question I have on this one is that if you say they decide to not expand, but they say they decide to relocate, take a team out of their out of a certain. Who would they take out to put one in Seattle? Because I feel like Seattle's going to have one before anybody else. Which team gets...
If they go anywhere, it's Seattle first.
Which team gets relocated?
Good question. Honestly, I would have to think, like, just, like, teams that, like, nobody really cares.
Fair. But I feel like But the thing about that, though, is, like, if you take a team that nobody really cares about, you have to take one that doesn't have, like, a history of really dominance in the NBA. So like say like the Pistons, for example. Nobody really follows the Pistons because like we've talked about previously.
Good in like 20 years.
But at the same time, they've had that bad boys era and they've already got 2 championships. Like I don't know if you could take a team that's already done that.
I would honestly, I think Sacramento would be a good candidate to move because I think California already has enough teams.
I'd go.
The Kings are probably the least popular in the state.
I would say Memphis is up there too.
Draw of the city.
As much as the Grit and Grind Grizzlies were great, I feel like Memphis has to be a talked about there too.
Yeah, Memphis could be one.
But I feel like they'll be really likely to keep that in because I feel like I forget who their owner's name is, but I feel like he's like really adamant about keeping basketball in Memphis.
Yeah, and also, as much as you might not like to hear it, if Adam Silver decides to like force his way in and take control of Phoenix, I could totally see him moving Phoenix to Seattle.
Goodbye, Suns. I'd be so down for that. Not really. I would hate to see that, but
I honestly, as much as you might not want to hear it, I could totally see him moving Phoenix to Seattle.
I feel like, see, it's interesting because I've always thought of that. Like, what would happen if the Suns actually did move? Because I feel like there's a chance, but I feel like there's a lot of other franchises that would get moved before they do. But the thing about it is the Suns actually haven't won anything at the same time, so it's difficult. Like, it's a weird thing because
they've had some good players, they've had some good teams, but they've just never been able to seal the deal.
It's funny you say that because like the Suns historically are one of the top. I think they're like number 7 in win percentage. I mean, maybe that might have tanked over the last couple of years because not good. But I feel like it's
one of those teams that people like. If you're not like tuned into the NBA all the time, you're just like, oh, they're still a team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like just simply because they also have they have like every other sport too. So I feel like it's kind of weird because Phoenix is like a hotbed for sports as well. Like you have the Diamondbacks, you have the Coyotes, you have the Cardinals. Like they're like one of the few. They're one of the few cities that actually has like a Big Four. But if Robert Sarver would have sell that, like if Robert Sarver by some way and some ray of hope decides to actually sell the Suns, I could see like someone be like, hey, let's consider relocating to a Seattle. Like it would because if you relocate to Seattle, like you're gonna do good up there. But at the same time,
people want basketball back there.
But at the same time, that's gonna happen, and I feel like the same exact thing is gonna happen to the Suns. Be like, we want basketball back in Phoenix. Like we want the Suns back. Like, because like they're just like one of the same things. Like the Supersonics never really did anything up there, but once you didn't have them in the NBA anymore, you're like, damn, we really want this. Like we really want the Sonics back now.
Right.
And like it's the same. It's gonna be the same thing that happens with the Suns. Be like, damn, we really want basketball back in Phoenix again. So because like you see like players like Kevin Durant, like Westbrook, like all the four players, like they'll talk about it and they'll be like, yeah, the fact that we really relocated out of Seattle sucked, but I don't know. I had to sneeze, dang it.
I'll go into my last.
Yeah, you go into your last one. I don't want to get too more. I don't want to get too depressed talking about the Suns and realizing that there's gonna be no future in basketball there in 10 years when Robert Sarver finally dies. It's starting to get morbid, but.
All right. So my last one is that John Morant's going to win multiple MVPs and finish as like one of the best players of the decade.
I can get behind that.
I was pretty self-explanatory. I mean, the kid's unbelievable.
He's insane.
Just stay away from any type of catastrophic injury. You hope that doesn't happen to him. But I mean, he's probably going to run away with the Rookie of the Year this year.
Yeah, I can't see anyone stopping that.
I could totally. He's just so dynamic. I mean, he's going to be like the face of the Grizzlies for the foreseeable future. And I could totally see him winning a couple of MVPs.
For the sake of Memphis' sake, like I really hope that he stays with Memphis too, just so that they can have like that small market team with such a high energy and high dynamic player, kind of like what's happening with Giannis. Like I'm hoping he stays with Milwaukee just so that way, like these small market teams can eventually turn into these big market teams as well. Like that'd be so good for the league. Yeah, I'm all aboard the Ja trade. Let's get him some glory over there in Memphis.
I love Ja.
My last one's a little bit of a doozy. My last prediction's a little bit of a doozy. It centers around Kawhi Leonard. I think that Kawhi Leonard wins a championship with the Clippers, but I also think that after he wins said championship, when his contract expires, he ditches them for Atlanta and wins a championship with the Atlanta Hawks. Very, very bold. Very, very bold. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
That's true. These are bold predictions.
And the way I look into it as Kawhi Leonard is slated to be a free agent as long as he accepts his player option, which I think he does. I think that him and Paul George both finish out their tenures together, and then I think they both leave at the same time, which would pose a problem for the Clippers, but would pose an amazing opportunity for the Oklahoma City Thunder to take advantage of that.
I was going to say that's good for the Thunder.
So with doing that, I don't think that they obviously go together in a package deal, but I think that at that point, Trae Young is going to be one of the better players, like one of the best players in the NBA, probably around that 2022, 2023 span, and he's going to look for a running mate. And they're probably not going to have that much cap tied down because, let's face it, they don't have a great team right now, but they have a lot of young guys that they're going to probably end up extending. Like, DeAndre Hunter's not going to be eligible until at least 2023. John Collins is eligible, I believe, next year, but I don't know if he's going to get the max by any means. You have Trae Young, who's not going to be eligible probably till 2022 to get that restricted, and he's going to get the max. So that still has a lot of cap freed up, and other guys like Kevin Huerter, who probably will get extended, but like he's not a max player by any means. He'll probably get something like a 4-year, $60 million maybe. And just other random guys here and there, but they have a lot of young guys, so they don't have a lot of cap tied down now. So they'll be able to splurge in that summer free agency. What better to spend it on than possibly the best player of the NBA at that time than Kawhi Leonard?
If they can get Kawhi, I mean that'd be unreal.
And I feel like Kawhi would Kawhi's the type of player who likes to take chances and he likes to take risks and take advantage of the opportunity to try to create something for himself. So going to Atlanta, winning a championship with said Atlanta Hawks, and cementing his legacy as the first player to win 4 championships from 4 different teams. That's top 10 material of all time right there in Kawhi Leonard. Like if Kawhi Leonard pulls that off, wins 4 different championships,
it'll just kind of cement his legacy as like this like mystical like assassin. Who just shows up and wins.
He is the definition of a franchise altering player. Like that is Kawhi Leonard. And like if he can pull that off, even if it's not with the Atlanta Hawks, like if he goes to a different team and wins a championship with another team and wins one with the Clippers as well, that's at least top 10 of all time material. Like no other player in the NBA has been able to carry 4 different teams, 4 different franchises to a championship. Like no one's done that. So people have done it with 2. 3 is hard enough. 4 is almost unimaginable. Like this is also wishful thinking because like I would love to see this happen. Like that would be so cool to have someone take over 4 different teams and bring them to the Holy Land. But Kawhi Leonard, Atlanta Hawks, they won a championship. Kawhi Leonard, Los Angeles Clippers, they won a championship, and everybody's happy. Or, well, not everybody because I'm still a Suns fan, but
yeah.
So We're gonna be the basement.
Seattle Suns.
Real quick before we wrap up, if you have to name 3 players right now that that in 2030, like 10 years from now, the 3 faces of the NBA, who do you think they're gonna be?
3 faces of the NBA.
Just real quick.
Ja Morant.
Okay.
To be consistent with my prediction. Jason Tatum and I'm gonna just go on the limb, LaMelo Ball.
Okay. LaMelo, so you're on the LaMelo Ball hype train.
Even if he's not that good, I just think he's gonna be a draw.
Yeah, he'll get the attention no matter what.
Especially if he gets drafted by the Knicks.
Oh, that's true. If he gets drafted to the Knicks, it's game over.
If he's in New York, if you have LaMelo Ball in New York, that's gonna be such a draw. Even if he sucks.
Yeah, it'll be unreal. My 3, I'm gonna go off a limb and say it's gonna be Luka Doncic, Zion Williamson because I believe he stays healthy, and Emily Bates. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but that kid in high school looks so legit. He looks like a clone of Kevin Durant.
Can I change one of mine to Luka? I'll switch him out with Tatum.
Yeah, you can switch yours to Luka.
I completely forgot about Luka.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's easy to forget that because I feel like you have to have that one foreign player, and I feel like obviously Luka's gonna. I think like Giannis will still be a very good player. Yeah, Giannis will still be a very good player. Like in 10 years, like he'll be around probably until the 2030s. But like Luka's gonna be Luka at that. He'll still be like probably in his prime in 10 years as well. And like Luka at his prime, Luka's not even in his prime right now. That's a scary thing. Like he's posting triple doubles on the daily, and he's not even. He's like 20 years old. That's scary.
He's only 20.
But that kid, I think that's how you say it, Emoni Bates. He's like 6'10". He's a freaking sophomore in high school. He's maybe not a sophomore. Maybe he's a junior now. That kid's insane. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his film, but
I haven't.
If you got to look him up. He's absolutely unreal for his age. Like he's talented as all hell. But yeah, that's I think that's gonna wrap it up for our podcast today. Make sure you go check out some of our stuff over at Tailgate Sports. We just put up our David's podcast the other day. I believe it was on Friday. So go check that out. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on over there. Make sure to drop a like, watch this whole thing through. Let us know what you think. And yeah, till next time, we'll see you later.